Imagine you are the person who is responsible for the invention of the world's most destructive bomb, the nuclear bomb. Today we are going to see the story of J. Robert Oppenheimer, who led the Manhattan Project of the US and invented the nuclear bomb. This fellow was a scientist who was a voracious reader. He was very much interested in philosophy, and he had read the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. He had read it almost 20 years before he got the nuclear test positive. And yet he was so influenced by it that he could see it day in and day out in his life. What are the proofs for this? There's a famous quote available on video where J. Robert Oppenheimer talks about
he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
I have become death. That was the feeling. As if when Shri Krishna showed his Vishwaroop darshan to Arjuna in order to persuade him to fight the war of Mahabharata. Now it's interesting that most of the people, or superficially seeing, most of us too would feel that Oppenheimer felt like Krishna, like God, that I am death. And it's not that. You can easily come down a little bit and see a test happening in front of you, and you see the test coming out positive. This is going to change the world. That's what he says in the interview. And he feels that he is doing a good thing, the positive thing to do in that World War II, to end that World War II, was to be powerful and to end the war, to make your opponent succumb or surrender. And that was going to happen because of the nuclear bomb. So he was in the right frame of mind to do it because he had this strong philosophical background and equanimous mental attitude during all these years when he was trying to get the nuclear bomb to its right recipe. And it's interesting how Arjun would have felt when he saw that Vishwaroop darshan, and he was full of fear. Arjun was full of fear. Similarly, Oppenheimer knew that this is going to change the world and that death is imminent now. So the positive side of it was taken, and he allowed the nuclear bomb to go into the war. And the height of it is on 6th of August, America bombed Hiroshima, and until that point, Oppenheimer doesn't feel a shade of guilt. It's beautifully described in many of the documentaries that are available on Oppenheimer. And he feels that this is the way the war is going to end. But the moment on 9th of August, that is within 3 days, the next nuclear bomb is dropped on Nagasaki, Oppenheimer feels no, this is not what should have been done. The government should have been a little more considerate. They should have given a little more time to the Japanese to surrender, and that didn't happen. That is the time he realizes that nuclear bombs are huge, humongous power, but if they land in the wrong kind of hands, they are going to destroy the whole human race. This is the point after which he starts opposing further development of more powerful bombs. So after the war gets over, which is within 6 days of the Nagasaki bombing, after that the US president proposes that they should now make a hydrogen bomb which is 10 times more powerful than the nuclear bomb. And Oppenheimer, who's the leader of the physicists and the scientists who make nuclear bombs, he's the first one to refuse, to oppose the development of bigger bombs. And this costs him dearly in his career. He of course has to step down from the leadership of the Atomic Energy Commission. However, he's still part of the commission, and he's kept part of the commission for the next 6, 7, 8 years. But he keeps opposing the development of the bombs because he can foresee that this kind of a inventions are going to only create a rat race among all nations to create more and more powerful nuclear bombs, which is exactly what happens. Russia and other nations start building the nuclear bombs, and there's a phase of almost 30-40 years which goes into this Cold War. So he could actually foresee that, and he opposes the bomb. Interestingly, this opposition of the hydrogen bomb and a few facts where the opponent, Russia, builds their nuclear bomb a little faster than what American government had expected, creates a fear in the American government, and they start looking for people who have been in touch with the Communist Party in America, because they feel these are the people who are going to help Russia to build that bomb that fast. And two such people were in contact with Oppenheimer. So he is wrongly framed in this charge, and he is not only framed, he is even stripped of his security entrance to the AEC. Even in this stage, where from the top to the bottom of his career, in that phase too, Oppenheimer remains calm, he remains equanimous, because he knows that this is just the happening. And like he says in the famous interview, I Am Death, is where Krishna is telling Arjun that you just let things happen. These warriors who stand right in front of you are already dead. I am the death for everybody. I am going to destroy all the worlds. Their death is written down. Even if you don't fight, they are going to die. So you do your duty and enjoy the abundance that you will get out of this. So take your actions without getting attached to those actions. With that message from Krishna, that's after that Arjun starts the fight. Whereas the same story seems repeated in Oppenheimer's life, where he does his duty without getting attached to it. He gets the bomb ready, he lets the bomb to be dropped, and when he realizes that this is going to lead to mass destruction, that's when he does his duty to oppose the next bombs. So whatever is righteous, Oppenheimer seems to be standing on that side. Whatever is dharma, Oppenheimer is standing on that side. And after he is framed, he can still remain equanimous. He feels a little sad. He goes into a different island to stay. But he doesn't get destroyed. He doesn't get depressed like most of us would get depressed. So that's the story of Oppenheimer, where we can see that he implements each of the principles that he knows from the Bhagavad Gita. And here I would like to say that each of us should be studying the Bhagavad Gita. We should be implementing the principles of Bhagavad Gita as much as we can. And to apply, to implement the principles, what is needed is practical guidance on these principles. Most of us just read the Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes we even understand the meanings of the words, but we don't understand how to implement these principles. So for example, in this principle itself, where we are told that Arjun, I have to fight as my duty, we don't understand how to implement this principle. To implement this principle, we have to see what are our personal preferences, choices that make us not to perform our duties. And if that happens, we can drop those preferences and choices and keep doing our duty. And once that happens, of course, we start growing as a human being, we start growing in whatever our duties are, and we can achieve legendary heights in our own lives. This is what is offered in the Embodying Bhagavad Gita course. In the Embodying Bhagavad Gita course, we are expected to go through each content which is available online So for example, this shlok and the next shlok is given in one page with a little bit of explanation over there, and we read it, we contemplate over it, we understand it, we imbibe it, and then throughout the day we implement it or observe how much we are able to implement, in what way we are able to implement these principles. And to observe these things, there are two exercises or two questions given at the end of each content. It helps us to remember those questions and observe what are we facing on that specific day. With that, we come to a observation as to what are the things that happen to us on that day, and these observations we are supposed to journal or write down or type in the end of the day. It takes around 5 to 10 minutes. This is what can bring us to new legendary heights. So with this, we come to the end of this video as to how we can bring spirituality into our lives and how we can achieve better and better results in our life. I hope this video was helpful for you, and if you have not already subscribed to our channel, I urge you to subscribe to our channel. Give this video a thumbs up. You can even watch the earlier video that you will get over here, and thank you.